Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, the 5th of December. Last night at 8 p.m, our dear leader, Boris Johnny, announced a new national lockdown, which began at midnight last night. Now, as always, when there's a minor change in the zeitgeist, I like to come out, obviously disobeying the stay-at-home rules, to come out and have a look in the field, on the front line, as a wildlife videographer, seeing who's out and about, checking the crackhead status of this great city. And I just like to see that though the shops are closed, the shopping malls are open, because there are public toilets, there are supermarkets, there are essential shops like Krispy Kreme donuts.
I know.
I love it. I like the ladies. I know. It was quite telling. Now we have the big eyeball. Not eyeball. Eye. No ball. You got your telescreens. You come round. And it's a lot of lack of ka-ching, basically. Starbucks, of course. Essential. What's their boss called? Charles Schultz, old Charlie. Says old Starbucks is an essential business, but the real reason we're in this capitalist parade is to go empty the BB. Guys, here's your word for 2021. Trambassador. Thanks, guys. Really hot and stuff. Lockdown? What lockdown? It's the 5th of January today, Tuesday. I'm here in Marks and Spencer's looking for body bags. Oh, Freudian slip, I meant body warmers. But what lockdown? Okay guys, we're back in the Trafford Center. My God, it was like getting into an exclusive nightclub or some private members, gentlemen's club, being questioned. So I'm walking towards the entrance of the Arndale and the security guy goes, hello, how can I help you? I said, well, I was hoping to go in. And he goes, what are your intentions at the center today? I was like, oh, I was hoping to get some lunch. He goes, which restaurant? I said, fancy a burger? Is Five Guys or McDonald's open? He goes, yes, but I'd prefer it if you click and collect it on your phone, so then you could show me evidence that you have a mission to go into the Trafford Center. I said, okay, no problem. Is it compulsory? He goes, well, I'd prefer it. And so I kind of smiled and waved and kissed a few babies and posed for a few photographs with some constituents, played the political game, and he got bored. He'd thrown his balls in my face. He'd played Mr. Jason Bourne, the COVID protector man. And here we are in the Trafford Center, in the food hall. Let's try and escape the food hall, because this will be the real test, guys. Can we escape the essential McDonald's area? This here is your food hall bit. You've got your boat. And first of all, just a A bit of trivia. Every time I come here, I eat with my kids in the boat, because that's what it's for. It's for eating with kids. But they've got an Israeli flag with a missing star. David's taken it back. Here we go. This is like WALL-E. This is like the spaceship of WALL-E. All the fat tart. Yeah. Anyway, what I was gonna show you guys, no entry, is the, if you look down there, that's into the shopping area where they've got, you know, John Lewis, Debenhams, and everything in between. And there's like a kind of a military checkpoint where you're not allowed to get through. Weird, it's just all weird. Just outside the Trafford Center, they've had for a few months now, since the start of lockdown, they've had Upside Down House for Upside Down World. Now, I just had to walk around inside, and as you saw, it's quiet. This fusion of the corporate world and the governmental world, obviously the corporate world has to follow the orders from the government, or they'll get shut down, and then next thing you know, you've got corporations telling members of the public how to act, where to stand, how to behave, which dot to wait on. I might as well move into this pink house behind me, that clowny upside down house. That's the lockdown house. And what's that in the front? That's the famous lion with his paw on the world. Now, I'm going to keep this brief. Just want to say, you know, now that we've had about a year, just under a year of this stuff, wouldn't it have made a lot of sense, like a lot of sense from the very start? Not from the start, because nobody knew what was going on, but wouldn't it have made more sense to shield everyone over 65, have grocery and food deliveries for the over 65s, and the rest of society just carries on, because the mortality rate for the under 65s is either the same or not as bad as the seasonal flu. And nobody shuts anything down for the seasonal flu. But I understand, if you're 85, you might as well do a fucking Russian roulette. 1 in 6 chance of dying from the bug. So put that bullet in that revolver, spin it round. Who was it that played? Willem Dafoe. Who else was in The Deer Hunter? Anyway, it reminds me of a joke. They're making a film with about Dr. Harold Shipman. It's going to star Willem Dafoe. They're going to call it The Old Deer Hunter. Hey hee ho hey. Hey hee ho hey. You've got the crown, you've got the lion, and you've got the 3 V's. Veni, Vidi, Veitch. Morning everyone, it's the 6th of January. I hope you're all well. I hope the first 5-6 days of this year have been better for you than for me. So I've been reading, which I guess is the very latest theory, scientific theory, to try and disprove anything transcendental, or disprove idealism, or disprove God. And it's called Integrated Information Theory. And I was first introduced to it by an interview with Max Tegmark on the Closer to Truth channel with Lawrence Kuhn. So I was watching it with great interest. And let me try and sum it up. Koch and Francis Crick, I can't remember the name of the German, Mr. Koch we'll call him, they say that any sufficiently complicated structure, such as the brain, or the brain of a bat, will display self-awareness, consciousness. They call a sufficiently complicated network, they call it phi, like the ancient Greek phi. And it's very interesting because they start with consciousness as the fundamental source of the universe, very similar to the panpsychists, very similar to the religion of Sikhism. They say consciousness is a fundamental, they don't try and explain it, they take it as fact. And they say that for every single thought, feeling, emotion, self-aware, subjective vibe you might experience, there is a hyperspatial geometric shape, a physical presence in some greatly advanced dimension. So they're saying consciousness isn't God, it's not the soul, it's not the great imagination of the divine or the infinite glory of a self-resolving paradox playing out. No, it's none of that. They're just saying that self-awareness is an inevitable byproduct of organizing neurons. Seems a bit, I don't know. But anyway, I was watching a great interest because basically there's a hyperdimensional shape somewhere where it feels like you watching a Charlie Veitch YouTube channel. There is a very specific integrated information bundle over in some hyperdimensional space. So what I found, watching it, because for many years I've been fascinated in trying to disprove my deeply held beliefs. There's nothing more interesting or exciting. I feel like sometimes like a hermit crab and the shell's getting a bit tight, and then in front of me on the beach, ooh, there's an amazing shell that I can crawl into and it's got room to grow. And the same with like my thoughts, my imagination, my beliefs. They're not dogmatic. They're not based only in emotion, because I do try and challenge them as often as possible with trying to disprove my belief that we are all the children of God playing out a self-resolving paradox in the great mind of the Absolute. So, with IIT, Integrated Information Theory, I couldn't help but see, and I can't help but say, that all it reminded me of was the very latest attempt of the Godhead to play hide and seek with itself as the ultimate game. And how is a physical hyperdimensional structure where it feels like love, or this hyperdimensional structure somewhere, integrated information in this hyperdimensional structure, that it feels like the extreme sorrow at a loss, or let's just try and use a mainstream example where we all know. There's a scene at the start of Saving Private Ryan where the secretaries are typing up the death letters to send to the parents of the young men that died in World War II. And it's very much, very sorry for your loss. Your son or daughter gave great courage in service of the nation to defend freedom and to fight the fascists or communists or whichever it is. Obviously World War II fascists. And there's a moment where the cartographer, typist, secretary realizes she's writing out 4 letters to the same mother, Mrs. Ryan. Now that exact moment where the general, the captain, the major, the secretary come together and feel that Mrs. Ryan should not lose her 5th son. Let's go rescue him. So according to IIT, that vibe has a specific color in the shape, like the album cover from the Foo Fighters, was it? Somewhere in hyperspace. Now, how is that any different than saying this is a simulation, or this is the playing out of the imagination of God in a spiritual simulation? It's no different. We're just getting closer and closer to the edge of having to realize that there is no stage at which objective reality suddenly goes, ooh, I am subjective. Final thought on this thread. They've studied amoebas, the small single-celled creatures. And I mean single cell. Like the human egg is one cell, like the sperm is one cell. But the amoeba has all the information, unlike the sperm or the egg has half the information. So the amoeba, no brain, no neurons, no behavior, yet it when it comes across either a bit of poison or some food, it behaves, it fights with other amoebas, it knows where to go, how to avoid this. Is the amoeba conscious? This is where integrated information theory and my beliefs do kind of coincide, because yes, the amoeba is conscious, but very basically so. Just missed it. The male mallard duck was doing his victory dance around the female in circles. Honk! Why can't people just be happy? Nobody wanted this to happen in our lifetimes, but we're in the midst of a massive worldwide civil war. As any religion can predict, as anyone could actually, sit there and see which way the wind's blowing and go, actually, yeah, this is what's going on. It's a spiritual war. It's a war for the soul of the planet. It's a war for the very prospect of being having meaning or not having meaning. And I'll tell you the two camps in this great civil war. It's the same camps that have always existed. The Bible talked of Cain and Abel. That's a very simplistic way, but also a very perfect way of looking at it. There's two types of people in the world right now. There's people who are in utter awe. They are enthralled by the beauty of nature, of humanity, of the emotions of love, devotion, loyalty, brotherhood, empathy, sympathy. These things make people go, wow, this is utterly astounding. We realize just how fragile our place here as human beings, as these creatures wearing this flesh and blood suit, and we take every attempt to find meaning. And we have babies, and we tell people that families are important, gentleness, peace. As the great line goes, you have no idea how disconcerting peace can be. And you see the world as fractals, as patterns playing out, as energies and vibrations, and you suddenly notice the connection between morality and aesthetics. When things flow freely, when you allow the patterns to play out, when you allow people to have liberty, freedom, and to make their own choices, to have babies, to feed them, to not be stressed, you will see in your subconscious, in the fifth dimension, to be a bit new age and hippie about it for a moment, you will feel the patterns easing. It's like knotted ropes. Suddenly the knots are out and the rope is just flowing freely through your hands. That's one side, guys. The other side are our adversaries, our ideological adversaries. They don't believe that reality is worth it. They think being is a prison. They think that the entirety of the 3D physical existence plane is a prison of souls that come from some infinite ether somewhere, and we are entrapped here to suffer. They see childbirth as suffering. They see babies crying as unnecessary suffering. They see people trying to build churches or mosques or whatever, any religious gathering, they see bullshit. Hence why the Soviet Union cracked down on the church so hard. Hence why communist China had to go into Tibet and just start massacring the Buddhist leaders there. Every man-made ideology, a poisoned ideology, a hobbling little crippled ideology on crutches needs to destroy your connection to the absolute, to the divine, to the infinite, to the eternal, because they hate it. They do not agree that man is perfect. They don't agree that we're made in the image of God. They don't agree that we are infinite souls on an incredible journey to what? To become probably gods ourselves. No, they see shit, they see decay, they see suffering, and when they ask themselves at the end of the day and at the start of the day, is it worth it? They say no. As they say, love is gentle, love is kind, love is slow. Love does not need to advertise itself. But right now, the ogres, the monsters, the orcs, the demons, the imps, they're not wasting any time making people fight, creating division, sowing division, making you all feel like you're crazy. I've never seen anything like this in the last 10 years. The ideological war to create ambiguity, to create confusion. Young people nowadays, how confused they are about everything from gender to sexuality to what they should do. The chemicals, and it's just too much. It is all too much. And I'm just gonna plant my flag in the ground here. I'm an individual. I'm a loner. I'm a lone wolf. I don't have many friends. I do my videos on my own. In a way, it means that I don't fall into groupthink. I don't care about the group's survival over what is correct, over what is moral. There's not going to be any expediency from me. Because I stand alone. I'm totally alone. Alone with you guys. That's why I do the YouTube, because it's too much to be totally alone. Fuck. Hi everyone, welcome to Row Green on the lovely frosty morning. There's a little Methodist church. What I'll do is I'll pan around so you can see. It's a very twee little village here in Salford, and it's quite well to do, with quite a nice bunch of people here. Lovely play area down there to bring the children. Speaking of children, my kids are getting homeschooled because Boris Johnson shut all the schools on Monday. We're in lockdown 3. Lockdown 3 sounds like a Jason Statham movie. Oh, I love cracking the ice. You gotta break the ice with people, you know. I gotta break the ice with my viewers, right? Oh shit, covered in mud now. So, remember in World War II, for all my very old viewers, remember in World War II when the Nazis were bombing Great Britain? Kids still went to school. Do you remember the Gulf War? Do you remember the Falklands War? Do you remember the troubles of the IRA? Thousands dead over decades. Kids still went to school. Now we have a disease. It's a particularly nasty respiratory disease. Mortality is not as bad as Spanish flu, but it's a granny killer. Now, because we have something that's affecting people in their 80s quite badly, these are people who have lived 8 decades, 9 decades, great life, good innings. To make sure that they can continue having 2 or 3 more good years, or 5 or 10 good years on this planet, as a 95-year-old, as a 100-year-old, what we've done, we've sacrificed the lives and education of our children, because in this globo homo clown world, kids are bad. Kids are bad for the environment. Kids spread disease. Children consume food and resources. Children add to global warming. Do you think it's a coincidence that the kind of globo homo liberal media kind of for the last 3 decades has shown fathers as incompetent idiots? They've kind of had article and movie and article and story and opening up. Cheat on your husband. Cheat. Divorce. Doesn't matter. The family is a patriarchy bloody handcuff on you. Free yourself, sister. Everything's gonna be fine as long as you leave your man, break the home. You see this promotion of lifestyles which cannot lead to children. Hooray! Look how brave these people are. Lifestyles, oh, just chop it off. Just chop it off. It's not going to lead to children. It's not going to lead to happiness. And the statistics show that it leads to 40% suicide attempt. 40%! But before I expand this all into one giant rant against the deranged and disgusting degeneracy I see around me, let's focus on the government. Children don't vote. Children cannot vote. Rich people can hire tutors. You know, very good maths teachers, English teachers, drama teachers, science teachers, physics teacher, chemistry. They turn up at the mansion. They turn up at the country estate. And your child receives an education better than Eton or Rugby or Westminster or Fettes, or whatever good school the kids go to. But for the rest of us, for us normal everyday peasants out in the bloody cold, you've replaced professional teachers with stressed out parents who are suffering their own psychological stresses from the lockdown anyway. It doesn't make sense, and like a good hostage, I can feel the Stockholm syndrome, you know. Oh, maybe it's not so bad. Oh, just a couple more weeks. I can feel that Stockholm syndrome coming, and it's a defense mechanism. Either you start fighting, or you suffer from Stockholm syndrome, and I need to resist it. I need to resist it with all my soul. Because it's upside down. We need to shelter the elderly and the ill from this virus. We don't need to shut down the lives, the futures of healthy people, the lives of others around us. There's something very, very wrong. Very wrong. Extremely wrong. You get to see who's important in this, you know, and the people making the decisions, the government people, the apparatchiks of this. You know, people like Boris Johnson, Chris Whitty, Matt Hancock, Dominic Cummings until he got sacked. These people have been on full salaries since the start of the lockdown. We're not all in this together. These names I've mentioned can afford and have access to the world's best private tuition for their children. We are not all in this together. On this video, I don't have any solutions. I don't know what the answer is, but I need you to clench your fists. I need you to look at your screen. I need you to have your lips tremble with tears in your eyes as you scream, for fuck's sake. I'm a human being. I'm an individual. I never signed up to take part in some giant social engineering program. So fuck you, government. Fuck you, police officer. Fuck you, haters, and anyone that is a conformist that wants to smack down or chop that blade of grass that sticks up. Fuck you. And I hope that the Stockholm syndrome dissipates. I hope that sanity returns to our leaders. I hope that praising of the Chinese style authoritarian freedom. Oh, you've got your blue-haired, nose-piercinged liberal journalists saying, oh, you all criticize China, but they're all back out on the streets. Yeah, okay, so they've got total surveillance. Yeah, okay, so they chop out the babies of women who have had unauthorized pregnancies and kill the baby. So what? Look, did you see the Wuhan beach party? Did you see those young people with their COVID passports partying in bikinis and trunks? Young, beautiful bodies. I saw some article. Was it The Atlantic? Was it one of these other rags? Was it Time magazine? I forget. And it goes, in topsy-turvy world, China has more freedom than we do. The propaganda implication is, sit down, you fucking peasants. Freedom, human rights, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Magna Carta. Fuck all that. You are now ants in the hive. You are a worker drone. Enjoy the song. We're here at the symptomatic COVID test center with the glass and National Health Service cabin behind me. Now, again, in the last week, there's big noises. There's been leaks and sources, and all the mainstream news are now pointing towards SARS-CoV-2 having leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, There's articles from 2015, people in labs in America saying, is it worth it? You know, changing the genetic makeup of these bat coronaviruses just to see how they'll spread through humans? Is that... It's like that line from Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum. What a handsome Jew. Jeff Goldblum says, he goes, scientists were so excited to see if they could, they never stopped to think if they should. And it's the same with studying viruses. What the fuck are you doing? So the Chinese, not known for their biological safety level, health and safety, they're tinkering. There was Dr. Bat, that lady. I'm not going to try and pronounce her name. And even if you go on the Wikipedia entry for COVID-19, it says very clearly that the bats that this apparently transferred into humans from live over 1,000 miles from Wuhan. And there's bat type B over in some caves in the middle of China somewhere where they've found these coronaviruses. So, it leaked. And that's very fucked up. So we have this man-made monstrosity thing that doesn't affect children or healthy, normal-aged people. But for our grannies and granddads, it's literally playing Russian roulette. And a lot of people commenting on my last video, oh, I'm unsubbing, I'm going to unsubscribe because you've put a face mask on. Very, very rarely, guys, when I go into like a place where there's lots of elderly people, I will put it on. Not because I believe my little scarf is stopping nanoparticles of SARS-CoV-2 from leaving my face. It's just a kind of, how do I put this? I love my analogies. Let's say I'm 10 years old, I'm at a BMX track, and let's say I've been living on the ranch for 10 years, riding BMX like a champion, a 10-year-old champion, never wore a helmet. Yet in the competition, the BMX race, one of the rules says you have to wear a helmet. My grandparents are there in the audience, they're watching, they're very much into safety. They've been telling me since I was 6, wear a helmet, wear a helmet. So for that race, do you know what I'm going to do? To keep my granny happy, to keep the rules happy, I'm going to put that helmet on. And is it going to affect me winning the race? No! Unless you get a sweaty head. No one likes a sweaty head. Anyway, this is Charlie Veitch from the Symptomatic COVID Test Centre in Swinton on Wednesday the 6th of January. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for watching. You know, in life, you're all going to suffer a lot. We are all going to suffer a great deal. And suffering does one of two things. If you've never peeked over the wall of materialism and mainstream, I guess, physicalism, into deep metaphysical ideas as to what is self-awareness, what is love, what is empathy, what is loyalty, what is unconditional forgiveness, what is forgiveness. If you've never felt the searing light that you cannot even look at directly, if you've never felt the searing light of perfect love, then when suffering comes your way, you're going to get bitter and twisted and hateful, and you will resent everyone. You'll resent everyone and everything around you, and you'll regret even the lovely moments of your life because you'll say, oh, it all led to shit, it meant nothing, I died, it ended, whatever, yeah? So you become bitter, you become an unwilling agent of nihilism, of darkness, of antinatalism, of the disgusting caste system we've put on human beings since the dawn of time. It's not a capitalism problem, it's not a modern problem. We discriminate, we treat each other as if we had different values, different ranks in the meat market, in the shop. The humans have different value. Now that's wrong. Now, if you've never tasted the nectar of unconditional forgiveness or love and brotherhood, then when suffering comes your way, you're going to lash out, you're going to blame everything and everyone around you, and you will become a demon, you will work for the dark side. Now, if Let me just change my hands here. If you have seen the perfect face of an angel, if you have shaken hands with God, if you've walked through the valley of the shadow of death with whichever Messiah you need, if you've realized you are a child of the universe of God, that you very well may be an infinite soul, then when suffering comes your way, you will not stop believing. Be it suffering, be it disease, be it loss, be it grief, be it humiliation, because you've literally embraced unconditional love as a concept. You've felt it. There's nothing that can take that away from you. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations thousands of years ago, the one thing I remember from his writing is that malicious other people, malice can take from you everything except your reaction to whatever is being done to you. You choose, and my choice is to never stop believing. I've seen true beauty. I've seen the infinite power of forgiveness. And there's not a single thing any demon on this planet, any person, any evil person, any malicious person, any control freak, any nihilist can do to me which will make me stop believing.